Welcome, everybody, to the Gen Z Sanctum. I am Nathan, your host today, with my co host, Nate.
Yo, what's up, everyone?
We've got an interesting episode for you today. Today's topic is going to be gaming consoles.
Haven't we done gaming consoles once
We've
already?
done video games.
Done video games. Interesting.
We've
Okay.
done different video games, but not gaming consoles.
Interesting, because I thought we did talk about like PlayStation and Xbox once before. I don't know. Let me just check my episodes. Yeah, just keep talking. I'll just if I found no, I don't want to replace episodes. What are you doing? Sorry, I'm being stupid over here. Sorry.
He is just going through the history and being like, oh, wait, what the frick? What?
Let's see.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, because I thought we had talked a little
I
bit.
know we had talked about video games.
I thought we had talked a little bit about like console wars and stuff. Mic troubles. There we go. Let's see. Can't speak English. Console wars. So we did have an episode where we talked about consoles a little.
Well, frick, I guess we don't have
Nathan doesn't remember the episodes we've done already.
I don't go searching through the episodes.
Hey guys, we're gonna do about consoles. Oh wait, we've done it already. Well, frick. Anyway, no, continue. What specifically about consoles did you want to talk
Well, it's more of what did we grow up on them, and
I grew up on VHS. That's not a console. What am I talking about? Anyway, also we have an interesting situation because Nathan brought his microphone today, but my computer said, "Get that crap out of here. I'm not gonna work with this microphone."
yes,
So Nathan brought his Blue Yeti microphone over here, plugged it in, we got ready to go, and then it was like, I refuse to record this audio.
yep, and it's
And
just like
frickin-
no,
So what we've done is we've taken my microphone, put it in the middle of both of us, turned the gain all the way up so they can hear both of our voices, and then we've scooched closer together.
there's a little bit of an echo, but
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like we're recording this in a basement, but
it'll have to work.
it's your mother's basement. No.
Oh boy,
Hey, Mom, get down here and make me a sandwich. I'm kidding. So,
so yes, today, well, we did do console wars, but
Yes.
I want to talk about with what gaming has done to us growing up. Like,
mental problems. What? Oh,
Yes.
sorry. You mean to like our? Oh, Can we go on?
I see.
I mean, some video games have been really bad over the years. I'll be honest with you.
There are video games that are bad. There's video games that are decent. And then there's those video games where we just flat out want to toss them out the window. And never see 'em
Exactly.
again.
Do you know what video game? All right. Are you thinking of the video game I'm thinking about tossing it out the window?
I am not.
Oh, okay. Think about it, Nathan. I'm kidding. I'll tell you a game that I want to toss out the window, and you tell me a game you want to toss out the window. I'll go first. Fall Guys. Yep. What's a game from well, not now necessarily, but what's a game from your childhood that you would be like, why did I play this?
I'm going to say this was many years ago, but I played the doggy grooming game that my sister had the Wii.
Yes, chuck that out the window.
Yes, chuck it out the window.
Okay, I'm gonna try to think of a better one because Fall Guys is decently okay, except when it says you have been disconnected from server.
Or
What the frick?
Or maybe it's not the game's problem, it's just the fact that you have the crappiest internet on the planet.
And Nathan now has some experience with that because Spectrum has screwed him over the last couple of weeks.
I think it was more my router just decided to.
That's true. I just decided to on his router. I threw up on his
Yes.
router last time I
And
was there.
the liquid damage and
True,
like
true.
barf and
Exactly,
the
it
router
smells
just
like-
I don't wanna.
Exactly. So, consoles. What was your first ever, I guess, gaming console? Okay, so what was the first video game
So
that you played?
we are going to. This is handheld and like regular
Handheld. Oh,
console.
okay.
So this is like all the consoles. My first console that I got personally was a Game Boy Advance SP,
Oh, dang.
and that I understand some people may be like, "Oh, that ages me." Because keep in mind, the
Oh,
Game
yeah.
Boy Advance SP came out in 2003
Did it?
or
Okay.
something like that. I thought it was
I'm gonna
2003 or
look this up.
2004. I know that.
I just want to be sure.
Very early 2000s.
Said the Game Boy Advance.
Advanced SP.
Game Boy Advance SP
So it's
release
the
date.
folding Game Boy. Basically, the Game Boy before the DS, before it got a screen on the bottom.
Freaking this. It
phone.
typed Game Boy NSP. What the frick does
Game
that
Boy
mean?
never exists SP.
Game Boy Advance SP release date. Yeah, February 2003. Okay,
Yeah,
that's about it.
So, that kind of ages me.
Oh yeah, that ages you because
But-
that came out literally like a year after you were born.
Oh, yeah. But I got a Game Boy Advance SP. We had a Wii, which, I mean, so many hours
so
to put
many
on that
people,
Wii. But
When did you get the Wii? Before or after this?
It was like, no, we had it before I got my
SP?
Game Boy, so it was
Okay.
like after it had been released. But
Okay.
the
When was-
Wii we got like brand new.
The Wii we got?
The Wii.
Okay, Wii release date.
It was 2006, I believe.
Wii.
Early or mid 2006.
Yeah, November 2006.
So late 2006.
Okay,
Okay.
but you got it
So-
new, so you probably would have gotten it like 2007,
2007,
early,
2008,
yeah.
somewhere around there.
Pretty new.
But that was like really spoiled. Like
Oh, yeah.
our parents would
I
never
love
buy us
those.
anything like
Yeah,
that.
I loved the Wii's.
And like the Wii was like the big like break that Nintendo, because Nintendo
True.
was always falling under Xbox and
Yeah, Nintendo really did kind of.
PlayStation. They were kind of like the hit under the bus.
Yeah, like
But
early.
the most interesting thing is that the like what do you call, like, it's not like the producer in movies, but for gaming consoles,
Like the gaming studio or whatever.
kind of the guy who's
There's-
like in charge of like, hey, let's do something along these lines. And the guy
Okay.
who is in charge of that basically said, hey, instead of trying to make the most powerful console ever, why don't we just enjoy fun?
Exactly.
Like, what console can bring the most fun at a reasonable price?
And hence the Wii was born.
Yep. That is the whole structure the Wii was built on.
So
What really sucked one day is that my brother and I went down to the basement
Mhm.
and we put a disc in, and the Wii said it would not read the disc.
oh dang.
So we pulled the disc out, we cleaned it out, we blew
Mhm.
it off, then we put it back in.
Still wouldn't read
It
it.
still doesn't read it. And we're
Dang.
like,
Sounds like my computer and your microphone.
so we were like really young. We were like, he was probably like 14, 15.
Oh, dang.
I was like 11 or 12.
Yeah, it's like
So-
my computer with your microphone. which
Yes.
just would not read.
So we had to take it to a repair center. They're like, we'll put a new disk drive in it and see what happens. So they put a new disk drive in it. It still doesn't work.
Well, frick.
And the problem is with Wii's is that they're so compact, they're really hard to fix.
Oh yeah.
So they tried other stuff and it just wouldn't read a disc.
Dang.
Now that I'm like doing research, I wonder if that Wii died because of a bad Wi-Fi card.
It could have been.
Because I've watched videos on Wii's being fixed, and some people say with an issue that's caused like that is a bad Wi-Fi card.
Right. So you were playing a game disc.
Yeah.
So if the Wi-Fi card was bad,
The Wi-Fi card communicates with, like, a lot of stuff goes through the Wi-Fi card.
okay, because I would have been like, you don't have to have a Wi-Fi to play a game
Like,
disc.
it's the same thing with
Mhm.
my 3DS. If the Wi-Fi
Yeah.
card goes out, the game console just doesn't read discs.
That's stupid.
It's really weird. I
It
don't
should
know
be like
how
an
Nintendo,
external
like,
thing that you can shut
I
off
know.
if you don't want to play a Wi-Fi
it
capable game.
routes. Well, no, it's the Wi-Fi card itself. Like, stuff goes through it. You can turn
Yeah.
the Wi-Fi off,
Yeah,
but if the Wi-Fi card itself
I
is not
feel like
working,
that's just a bad design.
It's weird. It's how they route their motherboards. Like, the Wi-Fi card goes out, it just shuts the whole console.
I think that's a stupid design. Nintendo, you suck. Anyway, but yeah,
But-
like Nintendo back in like 2007, like when the Wii first released, you said, "Oh yeah, Nintendo." And they're like, "Oh, you mean like the the company that made games in the 80s, you mean?" Like it
Well,
wasn't really
actually,
known for any new
here's the
stuff.
fun thing. Did you know Nintendo's been around since, like,
Oh, it's been a company for a long, long time. Yeah.
oh geez, the late 1800s or something like that?
I think it's like 1880 something.
Yeah, like late 1880s. It's been around.
Nintendo Foundation date. 1889. Yep.
1889, yep. But
Oh,
you're like, they didn't
cool.
make gaming consoles.
No.
right. They didn't make gaming consoles. They made game cards.
Exactly.
And then as time went on, they were a toy company.
Yep.
And then from there,
Then video games. Yeah.
Then in the
like the
1980s,
Atari and Atari.
they saw the gaming consoles were falling on their face, and Nintendo was like, "Huh, I wonder if we can save this." And they did with the NES.
Exactly. Did they make the Atari? I don't think. I think Atari made the Atari.
No, Nintendo is what killed the Atari.
Ah, that's
Nintendo and Sega combined.
Right.
But now, apparently, I had originally been told that Sega went under.
They got bought, didn't they?
I thought they did, but then then I did research. I don't think they were bought. They're still they do like.
Well, Sega was one of the companies that made the Sonic movies. Like they were on their logo was on.
So Sega still exists,
exactly,
but they're just now a game company.
I guess they just went quiet. Yeah.
They went under the radar.
Like after Sega Genesis, they were like, "We're gonna make some games, but we're gonna tune it down. We're not gonna appear too much."
Sega is on Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox.
So they're making their money's worth because their games are everywhere. But their consoles,
because Sega was falling under because their consoles weren't selling, the games weren't selling because their consoles weren't selling.
Correct.
And they're like, "Well, how do we still make money?" And they're like, "How about we just cut the consoles off, just make games." And allow them to
be on Nintendo,
consoles, all that.
And I guess that worked because they're still operating
they're still
today.
a company today.
Yeah, sounds fun. So I'll talk about my gaming a little bit. So first game that I ever played was Minecraft. No surprise there. I'm a weird boy.
You started on PC.
Minecraft PC, an old 2011 Dell laptop that ran Minecraft at 2 frames per second. True. If your render distance was anything below minimum and you built too much in your world, you'd walk up, and you couldn't do anything. So you'd have to build, walk around. If you built something too big, you'd have to delete the world and start a new one and do it again. And so that sucked. But then that computer died entirely.
It just
because and so I moved on from there to a Windows XP laptop, which that'll also date me because
I also grew up on a Windows XP laptop too. Just turning the laptop on and hearing that. No, so one thing I don't know. This is more out towards the modern people.
Yeah.
With Windows XP, you could do a very quick recording. Instead of hearing the donk, if a warning came up, you could record. My dad recorded his voice go, "Ah!" when a warning came up.
Oh, so every time a
warning came up, my dad would go, "Ah!"
I feel like that's funny. You could customize all the noises.
Duh! That's what I would hear every single time.
There was a warning
or
so you'd be sneaking around on the computer.
My dad turns around. What the frick?
Oh no, thank God. Imagine you could record when you pull up a certain website, you could record. He's looking at porn. He's looking at porn. So in public, you pull up a brown. He's looking at. Oh, what?
But the worst thing, we still have that laptop today, and it still works.
Oh, really? Wow.
But the problem is that 2013, 2014, the laptop still worked fine, but it was glitching really badly.
And when did they drop support for XP?
Oh, they dropped it years before.
Okay, let me look this up.
Windows XP dropped.
Windows XP support drop date.
2010?
2014 April.
Huh.
Is when they stopped supporting Windows XP.
Interesting, because
I thought that was earlier.
It's not that recent. XP come out?
2006, I think.
I thought it was earlier. Or no, Windows Visa was after.
Windows XP release date 2001. Okay.
Wow. So they supported it for 13 years.
Exactly. Windows Vista's 2007.
That's what I'm thinking of. Then the hidden Windows software was Windows 8.
Oh yeah,
And it was like the cube only software, and
yeah.
everybody who saw it didn't like it.
Oh exactly. Hold on.
And
Windows 8.
they quit support on Windows 8. Like,
Yeah, hold on. Let me see. I'm gonna look this up. Okay. Um, Windows 8 release date.
Windows 8 was like purely
When
supposed to
does
be.
it release date?
When does it really? Yeah, when does Windows
Windows
8 release?
8 release date. Yeah, thank you. 2012.
Okay.
And then when did it drop support? Windows 8 support drop date. 2016. Yeah, that didn't last
it
very
lasted
long.
2 years.
2 years, and then they're
no
like, "Oh,
one
get the frick
used
out."
it.
Exactly.
So they were spending money on the software not being used.
That's because everyone was like, Windows 7's still good. Windows 7 is where everyone
and then
stayed.
Windows 9 never existed.
Never existed. Then they jumped.
Then they dropped to Windows 10.
Exactly.
Like, oh,
like with iPhone. I think
Yeah.
the iPhone 9 never. There's not an iPhone 9.
9 never existed.
iPhone 8, I don't think existed either.
Yeah, iPhone 8.
They jumped from 7 or 7.
No, they went from iPhone 8 to iPhone 10.
Exactly.
They just skipped.
So every company hates 9. Let's jump straight to 10,
Samsung
guys.
used 9.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. They had their S9. And
you know why
9.
they're so good then as a company? Because they actually did a
They-
9.
Well,
then
here's the
jumped to
weirdest
10.
thing. They went from Samsung went from their 10 models to 20.
So,
But
year.
I get their reasoning because they switched from 10 to 20 because they want to name the device after the year they were released, which is smart.
20,
I like that.
21,
20.
22, 23. Yeah, that makes
So it's
sense.
really easy to remember
Exactly.
the name.
Exactly.
But anyway, gaming consoles.
Gaming consoles. So
you
PC
moved
was
from-
my gaming console.
So you moved from the laptop to your
So I went
parents' desktop.
from the Dell laptop, which was my mother's, to the XP laptop, which was my older sister's. But then when she got older, she got another one and gave the old one to me, and I used that for the longest time. Like, I used it for a long time, and one of my best games that I ever played on it was, if it's still here, yes, here it is, was the OG Star Wars Battlefront.
OG Battlefield.
The OG Battlefront.
Battlefront.
Star Wars Battlefront, Nathan. It's not Battlefield, it's Battlefront.
I corrected myself.
Sorry, yeah. Star Wars Battlefront. You look at this. This tells you how old it is. The system requirements on the back here. Windows 2000/XP required. Windows 2000, nobody uses that anymore. Graphics card, a 64 megabyte card. 64 megabyte card.
A 1050, which is a 4 gigabyte card,
Exactly.
is now underclocked.
Exactly.
Ow.
Input device, mouse and keyboard. That makes sense. DirectX 9, which installation. This game is, let's see, 2.7 gigabytes. This is the entire game is just that.
Yeah,
size.
and actually, fun fact: the whole game can be stored on the disc itself.
Exactly.
Because a DVD's storage size is about 4.3 gigabytes or something.
The CPU need 2.4 gigahertz CPU or faster required. Freaking wow.
CPUs in underclocked computers now are 4.5 gigahertz.
CPU Intel P4 2.4 gigahertz or AMD 2400 or faster. Memory. The memory. Wow. Memory, 512 megabytes of RAM required.
Which, keep in mind, when that game came out, 512 megabytes of RAM was actually quite a bit.
Exactly. Supported chipsets. Here's the NVIDIA. Do you want to hear the NVIDIA? The chips that they ask for. GeForce 3 family, GeForce 4 Ti family. I don't know what all that means, but I'm assuming that those are plus 15-year-old cards.
Oh yeah.
And so forth. But that game, if you could log time on a game, I probably did plus 100 hours on that game alone. and I loved it to the point where I would.
And then you
Oh,
just
what
didn't
up?
have a computer for it anymore. You're like,
And then
"Crap."
the XP computer, XP laptop died twice, and I resurrected it. I fixed it twice and got it working again. But then after the second time, it lasted for like maybe 6 months.
Also, whatever happened to that Xbox that
Okay, guys, let me tell you about my first ever console,
yeah.
which was
And
the.
you what? You said you got this from like a garage sale or something, or was
Oh
it a
yeah,
neighbor?
oh yeah, garage sale, $50, I think, less probably, because $50. If I had $50, I would have gone to get pizza. I'm kidding.
Yeah, pretty much.
But like somewhere anywhere between $20 and $50 for an OG Xbox around the time that they were starting to release the new Xbox Ones. So it was just old, and I was like, all right, I'll just, yeah, I might as well splurge. I'm getting some allowance money here. Let me go buy this thing. It looks cool. Have no idea how these old Xbox works because I never grew up using a controller. I was always keyboard and mouse. So I was like, I don't know how a controller works. Let me just beep boop beep boop beep boop beep boop. And so I bought that, and they were like, yeah, we've opened it, and yeah, just if you. Yeah, and then you close it, and it should work. And I was like, okay. So I got it home, plugged it in, and it loaded up fine. And so I played that. Now this will age it. The controllers corded, so you only had it as far away. Wired controllers. So you could only get so far away from your TV screen. You couldn't
Yeah,
have.
and if you like range it, like what?
Exactly.
The console's falling down.
Console falling down, you're ripping the cord out of the console.
I've actually heard people actually run into issues with either their pet tugs on the cord, or somebody tugs on the cord, or they yank on the cord out of rage,
breaks
the port.
Exactly.
And then Xbox, of course, every company has to come out with a little dongle to make money, and it's a breakaway.
Yeah.
So it's like a really loose plug. So if the controller gets yanked or
the
cord gets like
now what's
caught
stupid
on
with
something, it unplugs.
Now what's stupid with the breakaway cords is if those get loose, they just fall out. Yeah.
And then you're like, why is my controller not working? And the game's still going.
Yeah, and you plug it in, bloop. You plug it in again, bloop. It just falls out. So thankfully, this had a hard plug-in cord. You just click when it went in, and you had to I don't know if there was a tab on the top that you had to press down to pull the cord out or not, but the power block was almost the size of the console itself. Like on the power cord, the block was like this big.
Oh my gosh.
That you plug into the wall, the power bank was like this big. The power could go out and you could run the Xbox for another 3 minutes on the power just in that block.
Did you actually just
probably that? Could, yeah. I've unplugged, yes.
You unplugged it from
I unplugged it from the wall. The Xbox just kept running for a few minutes and then went off because that.
Well, the capacitors in there were huge.
Oh yeah, they were about to blow up electro boom style. I
found out issues with those Xboxes.
Yeah.
Maybe what happened to yours when it stopped working is the capacitors basically blow up and leak.
Oh, probably.
All their fluid across the motherboard and fry everything.
Yeah, although it didn't, when I opened it the last time, it didn't look like anything had
liquid or
blown up or anything. The capacitors were still capacitating. And I don't know what's the friggin' tech word. Anyway, but that was my first console was the Xbox original. And I played another game, which is Burnout Revenge. Again, probably 100+ hours on that game alone because I loved that game to the point where I would nut. I'm kidding.
What?
Nothing.
Okay.
It's in triple N. What a nonstop nut November. What? No. Anyway, then I moved from that to the 360, which I still have.
It's just at mine.
It's at your place, and if you move back in with your parents, I'll want that back. By the way, just FYI. Anyway, he's thinking about it, but we're not talking about that in this episode. So we're talking about the consoles themselves. Xbox 360 couldn't run that game, unfortunately, and I was really sad. He couldn't run the Xbox One game, so I smashed my sister. What? Nothing. Sorry. I'm losing my concentration skills here because literally, like, after the Xbox 360, I got this. I built this desktop, and I've had no other console since then.
Oh, and you know what's really cool that I like that well, this we're talking about Xbox here, but at Disc Replay, you know how they had like the limited editions of the 360 where they had like whatever versions of it.
Yeah.
But they have the R2D2 Star Wars limited edition.
Dang.
And if you don't know what that does, the coolest thing I think that it does when you turn it on, it makes R2D2 sound when it starts up.
That's interesting. And then when you yank the cord out, it goes.
I actually think it makes that noise when you turn it off.
Oh, really?
I think so.
So when you push the power button, you're like, "Get off your Xbox." Okay, Mom. What the frick was that? It's funny. But yeah, like, you know what they should make? A gaming console that's just like Darth Vader's head. Like his mask that you turn it on. When you turn it on. Or like, and like there's red lights on it that glow or something. That would be kind of cool. Game companies, get on there right now. Anyway, you had your Game Boy Color. You had your Wii.
Well, Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, Game Boy Advance.
I was not old enough to have a color.
No. Game Boy Advance, the Wii, and then what was the next console you had after the Wii?
The Wii U.
The Wii U, right, okay.
Which people say is the worst console ever made. And I will say, if you looked past the name of it, it was actually really good because it was a huge power bump.
Exactly.
Over the Wii. So it could actually play like pretty modern games.
Yeah.
But nobody bought them.
Exactly. Because, again, Wii U came out around the same time as like the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
And like everyone was with those. Speaking of which, what was your first like Xbox or PlayStation? You don't have Xbox. Oh wait, yes you do. What was your first PlayStation or Xbox console after the Wii U?
It was a PS4.
PS4 that you don't have anymore.
I don't have anymore, but I know where it is.
It's with you. Didn't you sell it to a friend or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he still has it.
PS4 is the first console you got after that.
Yes.
And then, do you even remember how many consoles you've bought and sold and stuff? You had PS4, and then what after that?
I don't think I've sold any more consoles after.
Okay, so what was the next one you got after that?
A PS5.
PS4, PS5.
Actually, no, I take that back. I got a Xbox One X.
Xbox One X, PS5.
I sold my PS4 for PS5, which I still have.
Yep. And then the blue limited edition
PS4. It was a blue Days of Play.
Correct.
The only reason I bought it is because it had the original controller.
Right.
With it.
That's kind of cool. And then you still have the Xbox One X, right?
Yes. Well, no, I don't have. Well, my sister has it.
So what? Do you have any Xboxes that you're?
I do have a Series X, but that is the only Xbox I have. So I upgraded from the One X to the Series X.
And your sister got the One X.
Yeah.
Okay. And then your Switch.
Yeah.
And then Switch Lite, which
I got the Switch Lite first, which I figured, I'd never use on our TV. Which actually, fun fact, people try and dock a Switch Lite. You actually physically cannot dock a Switch Lite.
Yeah.
And I will tell you why. It's because they removed the video chip off of the Lite. That the regular Switches
have to play it on the...
It's handheld only. Right. You cannot dock it even if you wanted to.
And then you got the normal Switch after that.
Yeah.
Didn't you sell the Lite, or do you still have the Lite?
I did sell the Lite.
Okay, you sold the Lite to Disc Replay, right?
Yeah.
And then that's the most recent console, right?
And then the PS4. PS4, yes, but then I started a collection of PlayStations. So I now have the whole collection of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
3, 4, and 5.
So
what's the most recent console you've got? Was it the 2 or the 3?
It was the original PlayStation.
Okay. That's fun. PS1 graphics.
Which actually, if you go back, I mean, yes, they look terrible compared to because with Unreal Engine 5,
have you seen the... Yeah, you keep talking.
But when Unreal Engine 5 came out, people's minds were blown. How can graphics be this good, especially on modern hardware?
Exactly.
Like, how can you get how can you just change the graphics on modern hardware? Because you weren't able to do that, 5, 6 years ago. Like, that was impossible. You had to upgrade the processing power of your console, computer, PC, whatever, to accept this graphics. But now there's Unreal Engine 5 that you can get these graphics
Exactly.
on old hardware, which is insane.
So, Nathan, do you think this is Unreal Life or Unreal Engine 5?
Well, that looks like an overlay to me, but I would say that's real life.
That is Unreal Engine 5. Do you see that thing that he's...
The thing that
and
he's
how it
controlling,
interacts with...
that's Unreal Engine 5?
You see how it interacts with the smoke?
Wow.
That is Unreal Engine 5. That is the power of Unreal Engine 5. Guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Unreal Engine 5 car burning video, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
It gives you an idea of how
unreal, I should say, it looks.
I remember, so I was listening to a podcast on Distractable. I'm kind of promoting.
Exactly. Go listen to Distractable right now, or you have no balls.
And
anyway,
Markiplier was talking, so he got invited to a preview of what Unreal Engine 5 was going to be, and he said he walked in and he just awestruck, like,
oh yeah,
how?
Oh yeah.
Like, how is this possible?
One of the first demonstrations, if you remember, of the Unreal Engine 5 was when they made the Matrix demonstration.
Oh yeah.
With the Unreal Engine 5. That was insane. When I saw people do that, I was like, video game? What frick? Punch my daddy in the teeth, tickle my mama. What the frick?
Hey, yeah.
Hey, yo, what? Anyway, yeah.
So, we are coming up on 30 minutes, so we should probably wrap up the podcast here.
And I'm going to wrap up the Yeti in water and drop it in the... What? Sorry,
and then
my brain.
New microphone. No.
Wrap the Yeti up in a towel with my computer, drop it in the river, and then beat the living crap out of it, and then it'll work. So
it'll work after it's played.
Exactly.
That's how technology works.
Exactly. That's how technology works. Just like women. What? Anyway, sorry.
We will see you on next week's episode.
Yes.
Podcast out.
What the frick is that? That's not how you outro a podcast out. What the frick?